Hello, everybody, and welcome to the C Plus podcast featuring Hex and Shogun Shin. I am one of your hosts, Shogun Shin, and joining me is my co-host, Hex Ginko. This
Hi, everybody.
is our third test episode.
This is the third, yeah.
Yeah, so this is a third test episode. This is a podcast that we both just get together and we talk about stuff that's happened to us lately, things we're interested in. So it could range from anything, anything and everything. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of tea, maybe, and we'll just get right on into it.
Good job. Ready?
Yeah. So, personally, I don't really have a whole lot to talk about, honestly.
That's fine.
I kind of noticed that the last couple episodes, I basically was just, I basically used all my talking points, so I'm just like, we'll let Hex have a turn, because that's how this should work.
Okay, cool. So, let's see. Where to begin, then? I guess I'll just start off with the whole coronavirus thing that I just saw.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk about that for like half a second because I'm sick to death of hearing about it.
Ha! You're sick to death.
Oh God! I didn't even
I'm
try
sorry.
to
This
do
is a
that.
very serious issue. People are dying.
It is. Yeah. Anyway.
I'm sorry.
So I was on Twitter, and I'm never on Twitter, by the way. I was just following a couple people because I've been playing the new MLB game, which has been interesting. Anyway, I was on Twitter, and I don't know if you follow soccer at all.
No.
Okay, so if Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the most famous soccer players in the world,
I recognize that name.
and reportedly he bought an island to hide from Corona.
Awesome.
He bought an island for him and his family.
Dude.
Because he makes a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, that's fucking legit.
I think he's definitely one of the highest paid soccer players, which means he's one of the highest paid sports athletes of all time. Sports athletes, I think, is redundant.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just thought I'd share that. Because what the fuck?
Like,
who does that?
I mean, it's a nice sentiment though. Like, he bought it for him and his family. Like, that's really
if
sweet.
you have the money,
But, like, holy shit, yeah. That's
do it. But
awesome.
yeah, and he apparently owns a bunch of hotels in Portugal, which is where he's from, and I think that they're like fairly priced for people.
Nice.
I don't know. Anyway.
Speaking of coronavirus and stuff like that, I actually I just watched the Philip DeFranco show because that's where I get like a good chunk of my news primarily, and he just talked about how apparently there is these two brothers in Tennessee, and they bought a shit ton of like hand sanitizer and like sanitizing wipes, and then they were selling them at like super marked up prices on Amazon.
Oh yeah.
Like, and it was just like apparently there's been like a huge amount of backlash, and like the New York Times wrote an article about them.
Oh
and,
yeah.
Like, and like I guess in the article it said that like they interviewed the guy, and he's like he's really sorry, he didn't realize that what they were doing was such like a problem. I guess like he didn't realize that like the stores weren't gonna get restocked, and he didn't realize that like they thought everything was gonna be okay for the most part, and like he's been selling stuff on Amazon for like I think at least a couple years or something like that, and it's like it's just always been like hot product after hot product, and like there's usually always something back on the shelves in the grocery stores. Like I didn't think it was that big of a deal, and like the New York Times in the article said that like he, as he's saying this, he's like kind of crying, he's like breaking down and stuff like that, and Philip DeFranco is just kind of like see, like I have a hard time believing that, because I'm just like okay, because like I guess there's a video of him also being interviewed, and the interviewer asks like, do you regret buying all of this stuff, and there's like a good like 10-15 second pause where he like thinks about it and he goes, no, I don't think so, and I'm just like, all right, well there goes like any sympathy most people are gonna have for you, buddy. Like, ouch.
My coworker was actually talking about, I believe, that exact same thing, because so the story that he was telling me is that he bought it from like a bunch of local mom and pop shops in a rural area, right? Where shipments are going to be fairly infrequent.
So it's interesting that you say that, because on the PDS they were saying that he went to not just like mom and pop shops, he went to like several grocery stores in like several states.
Well, yeah, this is just what I was told.
Yeah.
But it makes it because the total that he ended up with, again, that I was told, was 17,000 bottles of hand sanitizer.
Yeah, probably.
And was just sitting in his house.
Yeah, they're like sitting in his garage.
And it's like, okay. And then, and this was like, to go along with like the should not feel bad for this guy. He apparently does market research to find out what the hot product is, then will buy all of it out and then mark it up on Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon shut his account down.
Yep. Yeah, and they even like warned him that like they could face like they can be in like some pretty hot water by doing this because of price gouging.
I think there was actually a I don't know if it was a tweet or whatever. There was a statement released by my state government that said if anybody notices price gouging, to immediately report it at any store, to report it, and then they will take care of it. Nice. Because so I went shopping right before all of this stuff went down. Mm-hmm. Just to get normal things like food, and I needed a thing of toilet paper. This was before toilet paper was apparently the hottest commodity on the fucking planet.
I was talking to my mom about that, and
but
I'm
I
like,
went back to Winco a little while later,
paper?
And the toilet paper was there, but none of the hand sanitizer and none of the masks, and it all has like limit 5, and it's all gone. And apparently, since then, everything is gone. I don't understand how people are this stupid. I really don't. It's actually seriously bothering me.
I'm primarily surprised of like, I didn't realize that toilet paper was such a hot commodity.
I know.
Like it didn't kind of register in my brain of like I just kept seeing article after article of like, you know, toilet paper's running out of, like stores are running out of toilet paper. I'm like, I don't use toilet paper all that often, to be completely honest. Like I've got those wet wipes, like, dude.
Oh yeah.
What are you people doing?
Well, I hate hand sanitizer anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of gross, like as a personal feeling. Mm-hmm. I also think it's really bad for you because like that whole like destroys 99% of germs. That's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Because that means it's breaking down the stuff that you have to protect you. Like, I get it. It's getting rid of the stuff that you don't want, but it's also getting rid of the stuff that you do want.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of good and bad. And, like, what are you going to do with all that? Like, once this is all... If you catch it, none of that is going to help you.
Yeah. There was an article I saw on Twitter, and it was similar to the Amazon guy, but it was, I think, in the UK. It was a college. I think it was a college student, either a college or high school student. But he was also selling hand sanitizer at his school, but not for like crazy prices, just like normal prices. Like he was just selling it, and I guess the school suspended him. But in the article that I read, that he apparently made £9, and so
that's
they like
£9.
I think
Pounds.
it's like $9, and so like. Apparently, I guess they interviewed him, and they asked him what he's gonna do with the money, and I think he said that he's gonna get like McDonald's or something. Like,
I'll go buy lunch.
Like, it was something so stupid. I was like, good job, champ.
He wasn't trying to. He's like, hey, I have this stuff, and people want it. I'm gonna sell this for a reasonable price to not be an asshole. But it'd be nice to make a little bit of money on this stuff, you know. I guess that would have been how I would do it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but yeah, Corona has definitely got my mother in like a real frenzy a little bit. Like, she came home over the weekend, and like she was essentially she was like stocking up on food and stuff like that, and like she was really worried. She was primarily worried about my grandparents.
Understandable.
Which is interesting because like she was trying to take she was like stocking up on hand sanitizer a little bit too, and all that stuff. Not to like crazy levels, but like, you know, we're prepared now. And like she was like, you know, like, if you go outside, make sure you wash your hands for 20 seconds, going through blah blah blah, talking all this stuff. And she's like, we need to try and quarantine ourselves as much as possible. I'm like, cool. I already do that on a daily basis, so I'm fine.
I live indoors.
Yeah,
so.
I live indoors. That's fine. I'm cool with it. And she's like, so I'm gonna go back to Columbus Monday, but like make sure you quarantine yourself as much as possible. I'm like, all right, cool. And then she's like, but while you're at it, if you can go check on your grandparents, that'd be great. And I'm like, So you want me to
So
actually
you
go
want me to leave.
outside and leave to go see my grandparents to make sure that they are okay. Got it. Okay, I'll do that real quick.
So, how big is the impact in your state?
Pretty big question mark?
Do
Probably
you have like
not-
a rough number?
No, I don't. Not at all.
I think ours is like 270 something.
Okay. I know it's just I think it's just starting to hit Ohio, from what I remember over the weekend. Like, I know some of my friends were definitely talking about it already. And like I think it's just sort of like starting to creep in.
Yeah.
Like we're definitely we're like basically in preparation stage essentially, because it's like we know that's like on
You
the
cut
border and it's like, all right.
Okay.
I'm just saying that's like we're like basically prepping now basically.
Uh-oh.
Because like it's like essentially almost here, or it's just starting to come in, and we're like, all right, we're good. We set everything up. But so, you know, with all the outbreaks and all the social distancing and the quarantining and stuff like that, you know, a bunch of events are getting canceled, right, or getting rescheduled at the very least. I know that, you know, E3 got rescheduled.
Yeah.
Anaheim, or WonderCon in Anaheim got rescheduled, which is the sister convention, either sister or like parent convention of Comic-Con. And so people are kind of expecting Comic-Con to get rescheduled as well. But I thought this had me thinking about this, was that because Disneyland, which one's the one in Florida?
Disney World.
Disney World, yeah. Disney World got shut down because of it. And I'm like...
Disneyland did too, until April.
Okay, until April, okay. Because I was going to ask you, I'm like, Hex is going on a trip to Disney World. And I'm like, is that
I'm going to Disneyland.
Okay, Disneyland, yeah. I'm like, is he going to be okay? Is he going to go? Like, I don't actually know.
Hold on just a second.
Oh.
Hold, please.
Having some minor connection issues. Oh, gee.
Hello.
Hello.
I had an update, so hopefully that was it.
Yeah, let me hear. I have an update too, so let me do that actually too. Hot sec.
God damn it.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Alright, cool. Cool. Alright. Hopefully that is okay. It'll be fine. This is why we record the audio separately.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly why.
Although having a dialogue is kind of hard
Yeah.
when we can't hear each
Yeah,
other.
it's a little difficult. I will admit, a little difficult. But yeah, basically what I was saying, basically was that, like, you know, Disney World or Disneyland and Disney World are shutting down, and I'm like, Hex is going on a trip. Is he gonna be okay? Also, travel restrictions are a thing too, and I'm like, if he goes to California, I don't think he's gonna be able to fly back. Like,
Is he gonna be able to come back?
There's a small possibility that he can't come home.
Yeah, that is a possibility, but it is far enough into July. So a lot of these restrictions and closures are happening until the end of April.
Right, yeah.
Which is when most of the states are going to be reevaluating the situations. Apparently in Washington, a lot of the numbers are starting to go down, which is really cool.
That's
because
cool.
they've been really good about it. Oregon hasn't been, because people are still going crazy over here.
Oh.
They've been slowly going up. We're really, like, we're a pretty clean state over here for the most part, but we also have, I think, the highest number of homeless people per capita. Not that that's indicative of corona necessarily. Like, just because you're homeless doesn't mean you're going to get corona, and I think that's not what I'm trying to say. It's just like we have certain situations here that other places don't have to deal with. We also don't have like the giant numbers that New York does. So,
Yeah.
like we only really have one big hub, which is the Portland airport. We have a couple of them, but Seattle was getting demolished because Seattle's a huge hub for the East Coast, or sorry, the West Coast.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I honestly didn't even think about New York. Like, I'm kind of curious about how it is in New York. 'Cause I'm like, New York is already a pretty not clean place.
So New York got locked down. There are like several. I think it started off as one like cluster that just got shut off from the rest of the city. Jeez. And then mayor's just like, no one goes in, no one comes out.
Oh my god,
they're staying there.
Jesus Christ,
is what I heard. And yeah, as far as I know, it's not really getting better. I saw another tweet again. Don't know why I'm on Twitter so much today. That the first giant load of masks and tests came in today, so that was cool. It was by a Chinese doctor, and I did not want to look in the comments to see how many racist comments there were, because I had the feel like, oh my god, I cannot tell you how many people have been just like, oh, this is the Chinese virus. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Anybody can get it.
It has been.
It was apparently like a big problem here.
Yeah.
Was people being super biased because we have a fairly high Asian population here.
It's a very polite way of putting it.
Yeah, we have a fairly high population, Asian population here. It's mostly Vietnamese people. Actually, Vietnamese and Chinese, I think, are the two biggest populations of Asian cultures here. It's mostly white.
Yeah,
makes
sense.
There's diversity in Portland isn't super great.
Yeah. I mean,
anyway.
you don't think yours is great. Trust me, like...
I can only imagine what Ohio's like.
Dude.
Yeah.
It's like pretty non-existent.
All of my favorite bands come out of your state,
yeah.
and all of those bands are all white dudes. Yeah. In lighter news,
okay.
Let's see. You have been reading Berserk, and I have been reading Rumble.
Yes, correct.
So, you got through way more of Berserk than I expected you to.
Well, okay.
Which is awesome.
So here's the thing.
And I hope that means you've been enjoying it.
I have, yes. But I read it wrong at first.
Oh, no.
So when I told you that I was on chapter 3 or whatever, or volume 7, I guess, when I told you that, because on Tachiyomi, the way that they have it set up is that it's chapter 0A, and that goes all the way through N, and then it starts with chapter 1.
Yep. You started on chapter 1.
I did. I started on chapter 1, and then I went through all the way up to 20, and then that's when I was messaging you, and I'm like, I'm going to go back real quick to see what chapter 0 is all about. And then that's when I realized, oh, this is the Black Swordsman arc, this is the Golden Age arc. Okay, I'm going to read these real quick, and then I can get back into where I just was. Which, I will admit, if I had started with chapter 0, actually, if I had started there, I probably wouldn't have kept reading the series, actually.
Yeah. So, I'm glad you started with Golden Age and enjoyed it enough to get through issue 20.
The thing is that I didn't start with Golden Age.
Well, you started during the Golden Age arc.
Yeah, I basically started midway through Golden Age, basically.
Not midway. That's like maybe 5%.
Okay.
The Golden Age is 11 volumes long.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, I started, like... It was definitely like, well into it, though. Because the way the arc is basically set up is that it's like his young childhood, and then it's when he's, like, basically he's adult after he's joined
He's only 13 and then he's 16.
Yeah. But so like I started there basically at that point when he's essentially an adult. And I kept reading, and then I was like, oh, okay, let's backtrack. And yeah, if I had started in the Black Swordsman arc, I probably would have checked out a long time ago, because I liked, because reading the Black Swordsman arc was what I expected Berserk to be.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's okay, but at the same time, it was like, it wasn't for me. Like, it just wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
But starting in the Golden Age, it definitely it painted a very different picture of who Guts was than what I originally had. And I was like, oh, this is actually an interesting character that
He's a very interesting
I can
character.
legitimately be interested in. I'm like, oh, okay, this is what I wanted. This is good.
Yeah.
I like this. I can get behind this. And then going back and reading Black Swordsman, I got through Black Swordsman, and then I'm just like, well, now I have to keep reading, because I gotta know how it all goes to shit now. Now I gotta know.
Hold on a second. This is frustrating.
Oh yeah, weird. Hello?
Yeah, I'm
my
here.
my signal keeps dipping in and out for some reason. I don't know why.
I'm testing my internet right now. It seems fine.
Yeah, like I'm not doing it. I'm literally not doing anything.
Weird. So I'd assume what you... I get the gist of what you were saying.
Yeah.
I'm glad you actually started that way, because I was hesitant to tell you to start with the Black Swordsman arc, and it's not a bad intro.
It's not bad.
It's just you have to read the Golden Age right after it,
like, it's
and then
not
everything makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, most everything makes sense.
Most everything, yeah. It's just like not. It's just not interesting. Like nothing that really like it never.
I had a hard time
grab
myself.
me.
Yeah, I had a hard time myself the first time. I was just like, okay, so he's really, really edgy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
was like-
it's like super, super edgy, kind of a dick.
Yeah, to everybody.
Yeah, kind of a dick to everybody. There's like a small sliver of gold in his heart.
So, did you finish the entire Black Swordsman arc?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so you got through the slug count.
Yes.
Because he doesn't actually have a name. He's the count with the daughter, Teresia, or whatever.
Yeah.
So that one panel after he beat him and she's like, someday I'm gonna kill you, and then he has his back turned and he's walking away, and then Puck flies up to it and you see his face. It's just like that was like the moment I was like, oh, this is good.
Yeah, like it was like small little. I was kind of on board. What really kind of like definitely solidified of like, okay, I'm definitely in this now was, I don't quite remember in what context it was, but I know that he's, I think he's in like some sort of clearing, and it's the like he has like the demons that are like trying to claw at him, like trying to drag him down. And he kind of goes through this manic... it's right before he goes to fight the Count. Right before then.
Is that when he's in the cart with the one girl and the dad?
No, after.
No, okay.
It's after the physician just got executed.
Okay, yeah.
So, like, he stumbles
was nice,
out.
too.
Yeah, he was nice, yeah. But so, it was, like, right before he goes to fight the Count, it's like he has like these visions of like these ghosts and skeletons trying to like drag him down to hell, or like they're like tempting him with power, and he has this like whole manic episode. Like he's like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna do this with my own fucking bare hands.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to kill this man by myself. And I'm like, all right, you have my attention now. Let's see where this goes.
So one of the coolest things about Guts is that fact, is like he has you don't you can only assume this because you have started the Golden Age, but you've also read Black Swordsman. So Black Swordsman shows him he has one eye, he has one arm, and Golden Age is he's perfectly fine. One eye? He only has one eye.
Oh, I never noticed that actually.
Yeah, he's missing his right eye.
Oh.
In the Black Swordsman arc.
Yeah. His right eye, his left arm. He has both his legs. He has both of his legs.
Yeah. So there's this moment where his hand gets crushed in the Black Swordsman arc, like his right hand.
Yeah.
And so he picks up his 400-pound sword with his mouth.
Yeah, with his teeth.
And kills the dude with it. Because his like force of will is so strong. He's just superhuman, but he is like the most human person in the world that he lives in.
Yeah.
After what happens at the end of the Golden Age, everything goes to shit.
Yeah, well, and obviously.
It's really cool. And I really hope that you stick with it long enough to get through there.
Yeah, I definitely for sure want to get through Golden Age. I think what's going to keep me, because Golden Age itself is already keeping my attention.
It's
like
very good.
I'm already invested in Golden Age, and I feel that there are some things that have to happen for me to keep reading after Golden Age, and I think it's primarily just Guts as a character, because again, like Black Swordsman.
Oh, he gets cooler.
It's
he
not
gets
even,
way
it's not
better.
even just like I don't want him to get cooler. I'm just like, because again, like if I had started with Black Swordsman arc, I definitely probably wouldn't have kept reading, just because Guts, yes, is cool, and yes, he's a total badass. I just hate how much of a dick he is sometimes. It's like it's just occasionally it's just frustrating of just like, okay, I get that, like all his angst and like the way he puts himself up, it's all justified. I totally get it. Yeah. But I'm just, sometimes it happens and I'm like, all right, come on, dude. Like, come on, man.
Well, so the way that it's kind of structured is like the Black Swordsman arc is a prequel to the Golden Age, even though the Black Swordsman arc takes place 2 years after the Golden Age. It's setting up this character for you to get to know, and then the Golden Age explains why he is the way he is. So why he hates to be touched, why he hates people.
Yeah.
But the Golden Age, obviously, you see him interact with people. Like, he's standoffish.
Yeah, he's standoffish.
He doesn't like people to touch him at the beginning, but then he makes friends with everybody.
Exactly.
Like, he... Casca and Pippin and Judo and all these people.
And I'm
so
like,
that kind of goes away.
Yeah, and obviously it all goes to shit, which I totally get. Yeah. Like, I get why that, could turn you off to having inhuman interactions. I get that. But it's just like...
But also being, having stuff happen when you're 6.
I mean, yeah. But again, it's just like, occasionally it's just like, they're just...
9.
Like, I think, obviously Puck, the elf, is annoying. And, like, everything, anything that happens to Puck is totally justified. But sometimes I'm just like...
Sometimes you're like...
Like, okay, man,
dude.
Like, you can chill a little bit. Like,
just a little.
Just a little.
Hold back
also,
for a second.
Speaking of Casca, poor Casca, honestly. Just poor Casca, honestly. It's just that like...
poor girl.
So many things. It's just, like, so unfortunate. And I'm like, aw... I think that's another thing that, like, if I don't know, like, if something happens to Casca by the end of the Golden Age, because I'm pretty sure it's going to, I'm gonna be really upset about it. And my only hope is that she comes back later in the series.
She gets long hair, and that's all I'll say.
All right, I'll allow it.
She gets long hair.
Because, like, I already, like, going through Golden Age, I already have, like, my theories of what is going to happen. And so I am very much interested in how Golden Age ends. And I'm just, like, dude, if she dies or something happens to her, I'm going to be really fucking upset. I'm not going to be happy about it.
So obviously, you've been introduced to the three main characters.
Yes.
Grits, Guts, Griffith, and Casca.
Yes.
And you've also seen Griffith and Guts after the Golden Age.
Yes.
So you understand what Griffith happens to be now.
Yeah, I have. I don't know how it happens, but I have an idea of what will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And based on like the Slug King and that whole ordeal, my picture is like, okay,
Hex,
I can maybe infer of how some of this went down, but at the same time, it's like all I have are theories. But I'm like, okay, I have some idea. I thought it was really interesting too because of reading the part where Griffith wants Guts to assassinate the
prince or the
I don't know, the heir, I guess.
Is he a prince?
I don't think he's a prince.
I can't remember what it was.
Lord.
Well, he's,
I think he's
royalty.
I think he's the
he's the king's brother.
Brother, yeah. But so like I thought it was interesting because it's like he hired Guts to kill the Lord's brother, and in my head I'm like, Guts is not a stealthy person.
He has a giant sword.
He is not stealthy at all. Like I would not have trusted him to do this.
Judo would have been better.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Casca would have been
better. He's an acrobat. He mainly uses throwing knives, and he's very quick.
Yeah, like Casca would have been better, but I mean, Casca's not gonna do it. But Casca would have been better than anyone. And a lot of
Casca
people
wouldn't do it, but the only thing she wants is to please Griffith.
She might,
she would have done anything.
I think it would have taken a little bit more convincing for Casca.
Well, that's the whole reason why he went with Guts is because he's just like, "Hey, do this," and Guts is like, "Okay."
But like,
I'll do it. Whatever.
Seeing like
he doesn't give a crap.
I love that he goes through with it, and in my head I'm just like, I already know that this is already not going to be great. Like I know this is going to be a very botched job, and it's going to be hilarious, but it's also going to be really shitty. And then they introduce the Lord brother's son, and I'm like, they're both definitely dead now. Like he's either killing the son.
Adonis too.
Yeah, it's like he's either killing just Adonis or he's killing both of them. It's one or the other.
Yep.
And I'm like, cool.
It was both and then some.
Yeah, and I'm just like, shocker. Fucking also, shocker. The bulky dude is bad at assassinating someone.
And not everybody who died, or not everybody who saw him died.
Yeah.
They saw this big hulking dude with a giant sword. And nobody else is like, that's
couldn't have been him.
I feel like I've seen that guy.
Nah, dude. Nah.
Yeah. So you definitely need to check out that supercut at some point of the it's a mashup of the 1997 anime and the three movies that they made all out of the Golden Age arc. Okay. It's really good. You could watch it at any point, but obviously there's going to be spoilers. But still, like, there's a lot of stuff in the manga that you're not going to get in the anime. It's just kind of an easy way to get like some visualization for some things.
Yeah,
they changed some stuff too, but for the most part it's fairly accurate. I would definitely recommend watching it anytime. It's really good. It can be a little jarring because it goes from 2D animation in 1997 to 2D animation in 2012 to 3D animation in 2012.
Okay.
So if you can get past that, it's actually really well. Like I think it's fine.
Okay.
Also, the soundtrack in the 1997 anime is very good. Like I need to find it. I like pray to God it's on Spotify or something because it's that good. I want to like listen to it all the time.
As a quick tangent to soundtracks in general, I just watched a video today of there's this music producer on YouTube that I just recently subscribed to, and he talked about or like kind of explained certain Final Fantasy 14 themes that are like recurring in the game itself that are represented in the music.
Yeah.
And it's a fascinating video. I highly recommend watching if you're like ever want to like just learn something new of like, oh, that's really interesting. And like while he's like when he's like in the video, he like demos certain tracks so that way you get like a better idea of what he's talking about. And one of the themes that he's talking about is the actual like Final Fantasy 14 theme. Which is that, you know, that string of notes that goes that you hear in like all Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
And I guess one of like the fun facts that he did for it was apparently it was composed by Nobuo Uematsu in 10 minutes apparently. And he just like
like the original one, or
like
just the
original
one for 14?
Like the original one. The original score was composed by Nobuo Uematsu in 10 minutes.
Damn.
And it's just, I was like, oh, that's oddly hilarious. I'm like, it's something cobbled together that quickly just turned into something so iconic. It was like, oh,
Right.
that's fascinating.
As far as I know, the earliest one that I've heard it is 6. I don't know if they had it in 3, 4, or 5.
Yeah.
I don't think they had it in 1 or 2.
I think the earliest I heard it was probably, I'll say 9 because that's the earliest one that I played.
The earliest one that I played was 10. I know it's in that one because that one's super iconic. Everyone has heard that one.
Yeah. Well, okay, so
I mean,
I guess
most
10.
of them aren't that different.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah. But I just thought that was just an interesting thing.
He's an amazing composer. Like, going through every one of his albums, at least his Final Fantasy albums that I listened to, it's so good.
Yeah.
He only did part of the soundtrack for 10, and you can like distinctly tell the differences between his style and the other dudes, but I like them both. I think they both did a really good job with each. Like they have strengths, and you can really tell, because in Final Fantasy X, there's like a really big, there's a lot of techno influence in a lot of the songs, and that's definitely the other composer. And then there's the more like classical, melodical, or melodious, whatever. I'm not very musically inclined.
Classical's fair.
Yeah, classical. It's very. That is definitely Nobuo Uematsu.
Yeah.
And it's all great. I love listening to that soundtrack more than anything.
Yeah,
7 gets a little tiring. It's not bad. It's just I've heard it a lot. And 10, while I've heard it much more than 7, I have much like a lot more nostalgia towards it since it was my first Final Fantasy game, and I'm just like, no, this is always good.
Same.
I also prefer the original version as opposed to the HD version.
Yeah, same. I think the original still looks great, honestly.
Well, visually yes, but I'm talking about the soundtrack because they redid it.
Oh yeah, agree. I agree on that as well.
The reorchestrated version.
Yeah.
I like the kind of the PS2 sound font.
I think it's simpler. I think with the remaster, it definitely you kind of feel it being more modernized. But I think the simpler aspect of the PS2 and how it originally was, when I think it's a lot nicer. But that could just be the nostalgia bias.
Yeah. So, to get back onto Berserk, so far, who is your favorite character?
Casca.
Okay.
Like legitimately, probably. I think it's. I like to consider myself, in the words of famous comedian. It's bad because I just said famous comedian.
And you can't even remember.
I can't even remember his name. I think it's Bill Burr. I think.
Okay.
He passed away, but he has a quote that.
I don't think Bill Burr died.
No, it's. Mitch Hurd. That's it.
Okay. I was like, I don't think Bill Burr's
Mitch Hedberg.
dead.
That's it. Yeah, his name is Mitch Hedberg. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. He passed away. Mitch Hedberg, he has a very notable quote of, I'm a heroin addict. I have to have sex with women that have saved someone's life.
Okay.
And so I would very much consider myself as a heroin addict. Well, I just love, like, really badass female characters. And Casca is just kind of, definitely I like Casca a lot. Originally, like, I'm just like, she's a complete badass. Like she's a badass woman. Like that's awesome. That's super cool. Like you say like you give her any sort of like sass, or if you like try to like bring her down, she will kill you.
Oh yeah,
she will beat the shit out of you. Like, and I'm like I like it. That's awesome. That's hot. Low key, I thought Griffith was a woman as well. Originally,
that's the point.
Yeah. Well, originally
he's
I thought
very androgynous.
Yeah, I thought Griffith was a woman, but then I was really confused because I didn't know, because I thought Griffith was a woman. I thought the male version of Griffith was an entirely separate character. So I thought there were 4 characters originally.
Okay.
And it wasn't until
that's funny.
Yeah, it wasn't until like literally they did like a quick flashback to Guts is like talking to Griffith, but he's naked. It wasn't until then that I was like, oh, he's a man.
You're talking about when they were having the water fight?
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, he's a man. Oh shit, they're the same person.
Oh shit.
Oh, okay, got it. Cool. I'm on the same page now. I get it now.
Yep.
I'm here. But the I think definitely Casca is probably my favorite character right now, but that might also just be because of I just finished reading where
her arc.
Yeah, her arc where she has her period, which I thought was so funny, because I love the part where they're hiding in the cave and he's taking off her wet clothes so that way she can try to stay warm. And he notices the blood, and he's just like, oh shit, like did she get wounded? And he puts 2 and 2 together, and he goes, man, being a woman's tough. And I'm like, bro, this dude gets it.
So once she wakes up from that scenario, and then he starts giving her shit.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, this is why women shouldn't be on the battlefield or whatever. Like, a lot of people interpret that as Guts just being like either a misogynist or just being a dick for the sake of being a dick because he likes to pick fun of Casca.
Yeah, but see, I didn't.
But that's not it.
Yeah, that's interesting because that's that you say that, because for me, I didn't think that at all. I figured he was sort of just being himself to try and normalize the situation of like it's okay, and like obviously this is a difficult subject that obviously she doesn't want to talk about, and it's like, well, I'm just gonna treat her the same way as I always do, because why would I act any different?
Well, so I think. Okay, my cat just fell. Are you okay, stupid? Are you all right?
Is that your cat?
Yeah, she just fell. All right. Okay. Anyway. So there's it's really
I have a story about that.
Oh, yeah.
That reminds me of something, but I'll get back to it. I'll go back to it.
Okay, so it's during that scene where she's like throwing all of her stuff at him, and then he like pins her or whatever. A little while later, he's giving her shit again, and she's just fighting back the whole time. And then so she walks past him, and I think she like bumps into him or something, and he like gets a little smile because she's like she's kind of fired up again.
Yeah.
So
and like
it's not to be a dick, and it is to be like to normalize everything so that she doesn't feel uncomfortable. But it's like hey, this isn't a big deal.
And there's even the part I think it's right before they fall where he protects her and like intercepts a blow or something like that. And he like even like mumbles to her like, this isn't like you. Like,
yeah, he's like,
what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Like, come on. I know you can do better than this. Like, what are you doing? And I think that, like, definitely reading that arc to Casca was, like, definitely one of my favorite characters. It also made me really, like, just sympathize with her, because I'm just like, poor Casca. Like,
yeah.
Like, man.
She went through a lot.
She went through a whole lot, and then, like, she idolizes Griffith, and some might say even loves Griffith, and it's just like, Griffith, I mean, I don't know. Again, Griffith's a very hard to read character, as they clearly state. But it's like, he might have feelings, probably doesn't, and it's like, that feels bad. And then there's the whole Griffith with the princess of Midland. I'm like, well, that feels even worse for Casca. Like, that sucks hardcore. It's just like a whole fucking thing, and I'm like, girl, I got you, girl. You'll be best girl for me.
I can't remember. So You definitely read through the part where Griffith was attempted to be assassinated.
Yes.
See, my timeline is all messed up because things happen very quickly.
Right. Yeah. I just finished Casca's arc. That's basically what I just finished. So they.
What was the very last thing you read? That'll help me.
The Campfire of Dreams.
Oh, Bonfire of
Dreams. Yeah.
That's a great issue.
Yeah, which I also which definitely made me really like Guts a lot. Of he's this character that all he does is fight. All he does is swing a sword, and like I think Costco was very much correct in that like sometimes Guts just wants to swing a blade because it's easier than facing any of the problems that he's dealt with.
So they have established that Guts is like, hey, I want to be like that. They talked about Griffith not seeing anybody as his friend because he can't. None of these people are his equal, right?
Yeah, none of them are his equal.
That's the whole point of the Bonfire of Dreams. Is Guts is like, hey, I want to be his equal.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Which was I think it was cool to read that part, to have him, and this was before I read the beginning of Golden Age. So it's like hearing Griffith's monologue about having a friend as an equal. I thought was interesting because I already thought that's what Guts was, because they had already foreshadowed. That.
Stop time for a second. This is frustrating. This is super frustrating.
Am I cutting out again?
Say something.
Am I? Oh, is it having audio troubles again?
Cool. God damn it.
Good.
I guess we'll just wait for a second. Boop. Boop. Hello?
Yeah.
Nope. Nothing.
No.
Son of a bitch.
Jesus.
Ah.
Oh, wow. Hello? Oh, wow. Oh, it doesn't even say that I'm... Okay. I think I have to, like, force quit Discord now. That's awkward. Okay. It might be my Discord that's acting up then.
Just... Oh, wait. Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Yeah, I tried to leave the call, and then my Discord basically froze.
So I'm assuming this is a you thing.
I think so. I think it's something with my Discord, because it definitely says that I've got like full green bars on the call. So something's just going on with Discord right now, and I don't know what it is.
Okay.
All right, what was the last thing you heard me say?
The cool thing about Griffith is...
Okay.
Or something like that. And then nothing. I was like, okay. I feel like I'm missing out on something really important right now.
Okay. I was just saying that, like I was saying before, originally I thought that Guts was already Griffith's equal.
Mm-hmm.
Because this was before I read, because I was already in the middle of Golden Age when I started reading this. And they had already kind of foreshadowed that Griffith has never really shown interest in a person before. Like any sort of interest in general, until Guts came around. And so, with listening to that monologue...
Yeah, that is weird. They established, oh hey, yeah, he really likes Guts, and then there's the whole Zod thing where it's like he wouldn't have done any of that if it was anybody else, but it's Guts.
Yeah, but so and so like I'd already thought that like, oh, he is a friend of Griffith already. Okay, I'm like, all right, cool, that makes sense. But then reading back and finding out how Guts joined the I can't even remember what the group's name is. The
Band of the Hawk.
Band of the Hawk. That's it.
Yeah.
I kept wanting to say Raven.
In English, it's the Band of the Hawk.
Yeah, I kept wanting to say Raven.
Band of the Falcon.
Yeah. But so yeah, like finding out how he originally joined, I was like, that's definitely not what I had expected to happen, like at all. Period. Like that's okay, because I'm like essentially Griffith Guts is essentially Griffith's like slave, quote unquote. Like,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
technically.
that's a little fucked up, but like, I guess they're both cool with it because like, yeah, they can fight. Like, they both are really badass fighters. I'm like, all right, as long as they're both cool, I guess. Like, that's fine, as long as everyone's consenting. But so yeah, it was just like really odd. It's just really odd, but listening to Guts saying that, like, you know, he doesn't have any sort of dream or anything like that, definitely was definitely a important thing that I'm glad that I read and that they had written, because I'm like, it definitely made me like Guts a lot more, because it just added so much more depth to his character overall. And I'm like, okay, like this is cool. Like, this is an actual character that I am now invested in, and I definitely want to like see where this goes. But Casca is definitely my favorite character right now. Just because
I mean, her dream is there too. They just don't like have to go into it as much, because it's much more. This is obvious. Like, this is really Guts' story, right?
Yeah.
And you know what Griffith's is, and hers is like, it's there, but because her dream is to be Griffith's sword. I think she has said that by now.
Yes.
Meaning whatever that means.
Yeah.
Like, to like, she wants to be his go-to tool.
Yeah.
And she thinks that that's Guts, but that's not necessarily true.
Not necessarily true, yeah.
It's more Charlotte. I mean, it's really just all about like what it is at the time.
Yeah.
Because it's whatever Griffith needs, and like, Griffith does need everybody.
Yeah.
And she doesn't see it that way, which is really sad.
I really like Griffith as a villain. I will say that. Like, Griffith as an antagonist is really cool because of the fact, because of how smart he is.
Oh, yeah.
And like, I love the the predator eyes that he has when he gives
right,
and like just those moments of like,
terrifying.
Like, yeah, like, I remember I loved reading them, and I would literally feel like a chill of like, oh, I'm threatened.
Those
like,
are not the eyes of a good guy.
I'm definitely in danger, and I'm like, that's so, like, it's so good. And like, I love both moments of like where he almost gets assassinated, and he looks at the king's brother, and like, you see, like, you have the soul piercing eyes of like, oh, you are
so
fucked
creepy
now, like, you're so done. And I'm like, that's like, at first I was like, that's cool, he's smart, I like it. And
he's
then
gonna kill you back.
Yeah, and then he did it again with the advisor or whatever, and I'm like, oh, this man's definitely a villain, and I'm all on board with this.
Yeah,
because
Griffith is probably one of the best villains.
Yeah, because like, I mean, obviously, like, it's a little different in Griffith's case, but I love villains that are smart, but I think I love villains that are not only just smart, but they know that they are the smartest. It's not that they think they're the smartest, is that they know that they are the smartest person.
No one is smarter than Griffith.
Yeah, and like, they're not
in this
like,
whole
thing. Yeah, and I love that they're not arrogant about it. They're not like narcissistic. They just simply know that, like, I know for a fact that I'm better than you, and I know for a fact that I am much smarter than you, and I am going to wreak havoc. And I'm like, good. I'm glad.
There's a character that's a lot like that in DC, and it's why so there was a movie that came out a long time ago that was called Crisis on Two Earths. And it was a retelling of some old Justice League comic. But in the movie, there was the, like, anti-Justice League from an alternate universe. They're called the Crime Syndicate. So there's Ultraman is like the opposite of Superman. Superwoman is the opposite of Wonder Woman. But there's Owlman.
Oh, and
in this movie, he's played by James Woods. And this guy is he's like Batman, but he's insane. And it's not like Joker insane. He's a complete nihilist.
Yeah.
Like everything he does, he's just like, nothing has any purpose. So I'm just gonna kill everybody.
Yeah.
Because this is what I do.
Yeah.
It's holy shit, but he's a genius.
Yeah. I also really like
terrifying
villains that I've said this during my Persona 4 Golden run, but I also love villains that they just don't have a reason to do what they're doing. Like they don't have
like Adachi. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like Adachi. Yeah, like I love Adachi as a villain because he did it because he was bored of like it was fun
to just
watch. Yeah, and it's like I just love that mindset of just like I could do it, I could get away with it. Like I planned this all out, and I'm like I'm just gonna watch the havoc, and I'm like it's so great. Like I'm just like fuck yeah, that's exactly what villains should be. Like they shouldn't need to have a reason of why they're doing bad things. Like it's like because I can, duh.
Heath Ledger's Joker is exactly like that, and I think that's one of the reasons that he was so good.
Yeah, because again, I always go back to that quote in Dark Knight. It was like, some men just want to watch the world burn, and I'm like, yeah, that's good.
I like that one, but it's not necessarily from the perspective of the Joker. Obviously, that was Alfred saying it. It's more the Joker's his whole when he was talking to. At the time, Two-Face, and he's like, do I look like a guy with a plan? That whole thing. He's like, I'm like a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with it once I caught it. It's like, that because that doesn't matter. You don't have to have a plan. You just have to make everything
work.
Turn to shit.
Yeah. It's like, as long as the plan...
Because everything is going to work once everybody starts going crazy.
Yeah.
Once somebody else's plan starts to get messed up, then everybody goes nuts.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. There's a lot of really great quotes, and I'm so goddamn sad that he died.
With that sort of logic, coronavirus is the best supervillain ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I actually did see I think I downloaded it on my phone. It was on Facebook, and it was a Joker quote. It was really it's 2008. See, their morals, their code, it's a bad joke. Dropped at the sign of trouble, they're only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other. See, I'm not a monster, I'm just ahead of the curve. And then it's a picture of all these people in grocery stores fighting each other over toilet paper. It is so accurate. It doesn't matter what any one of these villains do, because like I think that I really like Death Note. Like I haven't finished it, but it's really interesting because you're like, oh hey, the main character is the protagonist, right? No. He's the bad guy. Even if his whole point is that he's trying to rid the world of bad people, it's bad people that he considers bad. Yeah. It's like, obviously you're going to go with people who were in prison, but not everybody who went to prison for the right reasons, or like it was a crime for marijuana or whatever, you know, that's not really a crime much anymore.
Yeah.
Or they're under false pretenses or various other things. And then people start to figure out what's going on. So he just starts killing people willy-nilly to throw people off of his trail, or his dad, or, you know, various other things. It's like, oh, he's really smart, but he's also not a good guy.
Yeah.
And I honestly, like, I definitely need to sit down and finish reading that book or that series, because it's really good. And it's more about like, what the hell is he gonna do, than it is like kind of wanting to see him succeed, because you just want to see how he figures out his lack of a plan at this point, because his plan went down the tubes very quickly after like the first volume. He dared this equally smart guy to figure out where he was. And in the first day, I think, he was like, oh, hey, you're in this city. And no one knew where he was in the entire world. And then he narrowed it down to one city in like a day. Like, you fucked up, bud.
Shit. Shit.
You've messed up. Yeah. So I'm really glad that you are enjoying Berserk. It gets really good.
Yeah.
The art style at the beginning is a little rough. Like, this is early 1970 or 1980 or no, late 1980s.
I really hate the like I don't even know how to describe it. I hate the really detailed like first couple pages of each volume or whatever, each chapter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I hate them actually because like colored they're great. Black and white,
Yeah.
oh my god, it's a fucking nightmare. Like, I spend probably half my time, instead of reading, I'm just trying to figure out what I'm looking at sometimes. Because I'm just like, sometimes, like, black and white, sometimes it's just so, like, blurry and smeared, and I get that's how it's supposed to look.
Yeah.
But, like, in color, I'm like, that would make sense, because there's color, there's depth, you're able to differentiate stuff. I can only differentiate so many shades of black and gray and white.
It definitely starts to get a lot better.
Yeah, and it's like
a lot better.
Like, I just hate them in black and white. If they just kept it in color, okay, that's fine. But like the moment it switched to black and white, I'm like, what am I looking at? All right, come on, trying to piece together what this is. I will admit that some of the action scees in Berserk do confuse me occasionally.
Every once in a while.
Yeah, like the way that my brain works is that like I'll put it together like a picture book, and like I can visualize the animation of how it all works out. But there's one scene in particular that really stood out to me. It was when he's fighting what's that first enemy?
Zuzo?
Wait. Nosferatu. That's
Zod.
Zod, yeah. When he's fighting Zod, and he goes to Zod goes to swing his sword down, and so Guts grabs his blade and it's like they do like the samurai showdown.
Yeah.
And he swings up and he cuts the sword
in half. But then it comes down.
And then it comes down into his shoulder, and I'm like,
yeah.
Wait, what? What happened here? How did that work?
So that does happen every once.
Yeah, and like I could only like assume that like there's that one panel where like it zooms in on Guts' face, and he's like he kind of grunts, and I'm assuming in that one panel that's when he like changed his momentum and swung down, I guess, because that's the only rational way I can connect it in my brain. But like, yeah, it's just like small things like that like really take me out of those sequences, which is really unfortunate because I'm like, you know, a lot of time like I'm in it, like I'm there, I'm reading through, I'm captivated, and then it's just like that bump is so jarring a lot of times that I'm like, huh, what?
That definitely decreases a lot, and is another one of the reasons that the anime and the movies help, because it helps you visualize a lot of that early kind of like these are important action scenes, but they're really disconnected from each other every once in a while.
It's such a major discontinuity that it really throws it off, and it is a bit of a shame. But yeah, I will say that I definitely enjoy it, and I will admit that like the end of Golden Age, depending on what happens at the end of Golden Age, I mean, yeah, it's a long way up, but like depending on what happens at the end of that, will be another like kind of tipping point of like, will I keep reading this or not? Which
that's the whole point.
Yeah, but like I will say that like if I keep reading it, I'm there, I'm stuck in.
Oh yeah.
Nothing will deter me after that point, I will say.
So I haven't actually. I know what happens. I watch Berserk videos all the time now, and I've watched the movies. I just haven't gotten that far in the manga yet.
Okay.
But it gives you every reason to go forward, because you're like, you just want to see Guts' journey forward from here.
Yeah, and like that is
really,
like after reading Black Swordsman again, I'm just kind of like, well, obviously everything goes to shit at some point. I'm like, I at least want to see that. Like, I at least want to see everything that goes down.
Shit goes off.
like
after the end of the Golden Age, like, stuff happens with Guts.
Makes
some
sense.
Not very fortunate things.
Makes sense.
And so the Black Swordsman arc, like I said, is 2 years after Golden Age. And then the one after Golden Age is called Conviction. And that is widely regarded as the second best arc. Golden Age is generally the best arc.
Right, yeah.
Because it's the one that put Berserk on the map. That's literally the one that made it popular. And it's what everybody is like, hey, this is where all the characters are from. Right? It's like, this is the introduction to everybody. And Conviction is like, okay, well, the end happened, so holy shit. All right, we got to make this even cooler. We have to make this...
What do we do now?
All of this even better. So the art gets better, the writing gets better, Guts's whole reason for existence is bumped up to 11. You start to figure some stuff out, and it's really cool. Okay. So I was actually going to show you an example of later artwork, because I do think the art is really good. It does take some getting used to.
Yeah.
But it eventually becomes this.
Yeah, the only aspect that I don't
and it's
like
very pretty.
Okay, yeah, like the only aspect of the old artwork that I don't like are the colored pages. When they go into black and white, that's the only thing I don't like about the old art style. Everything else about it, I'm like, it's fine. Like I can definitely feel like the age around it, but I'm like, it's still like very well drawn. Like the characters aren't like crazy, like sort of disconnected of like they're not
they're realistic. They're incredibly realistic.
They're realistic
which is really
enough.
Nice.
Yeah, they're realistic enough that I'm like, okay, this isn't like super cartoony or super zany. Except for, I don't remember what his name is. It's like Corvus or Cock something.
Adon?
No.
Korborowitz?
No, it's the really like asshole guy in
Corcus.
The band. Corcus, that's his name.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
I wanted to die so bad. Like, there's so many moments where there's so many moments where like he gets like threatened or like someone is like super close to killing it. I'm like, I just want someone to do it so bad. Like, I just want them to just be so tired of his shit and just slit his throat. I'm like, I'm so over him.
You are very close to getting to the tipping point of the Golden Age. Actually, yeah, you're really close to midway, I think. Because I think it's after chapter or volume 11 that I think volume 11. No, it's 15. So yeah, you're about halfway.
Yeah,
through the Golden Age.
Let me see if I can quickly check to see where I'm actually at.
I looked at it today. You are in volume 7.
No, I think I'm actually after that now. Or I think I'm actually in volume 8 now, I think. Well, while I'm looking this up, there's another comic that I've already read that you're currently reading.
Yeah.
And that's Rumble.
Yeah, that one's awesome. I really liked it.
Yeah. So you started.
It ended very abruptly.
You read the second series, correct?
No.
Okay.
I read the first issue, and I was having kind of having trouble getting back into it. Not because it was bad. It was just like art is a big thing for me, and usually I can kind of ignore it. But the art for Rumble 1 was so good. And then going into Rumble 2, I was like,
Yeah,
This is a
it
little rough.
Definitely, yeah, it definitely.
It's not bad.
Takes a
it's
turn.
Like, I wish that it was kind of the other way around. I wish that it had started with this stuff and then gone to the other one, because it's also I looked up the artists for the rest of the series, and they jump around, and that kind of sucks when it's telling a single coherent story. That's why, like, I have a problem with DC and Marvel. It's like every once in a while they'll throw in a new artist for just one issue, and I'm like, God damn it, stop.
Yeah.
You're telling one story. And so, yeah, no, I didn't get through Rumble 2, but Rumble 1 was really good. The ending was just very abrupt. Like, the last 3 chapters, or the last 3 issues were very fast. I was like, oh, I feel like they have a lot of story left to tell. And then then it ended. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm glad I know that there's another series, because I can only imagine what it was like for people in 2015 when it ended, or 16, I guess.
Yeah, when I originally read the series when it had first published, and so when the series ended, the way it ended, I was just like, oh, well, when's the, oh, I can't wait for the next issue. And then a month later, it didn't happen. And then a month later, it didn't happen. And then I was like, oh, did it get canceled? And it actually, I think it originally did. I think originally it did get canceled. And so they were going to, the second series was supposed to be the next issue. And then it just didn't happen. And then it finally got revitalized again. And then like, okay, we're just going to start a new series now. And it's just going to be it's going to be essentially a continuation. Here you go. And I'm like, dope. And then like the art style, because I actually did drop off after a while too, because of the art style did put me off. I was like, oh, this is a bit of a downgrade. But again, even at that point though, like I dropped off the series, came back to it maybe like a year later, and I actually reread the original series, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give this one more shot, and I'm just gonna accept the fact that the art style is different, and just kind of like I'll push through it and see what happens. And then I pushed through it a couple of times, a couple of issues, and I'm like, okay, I'm back, I'm good, I'm set. Like, let's keep going. Also, I looked it up. I'm at the Battle of Doldry, Chapter 1.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're really close to where shit goes off.
Yeah. Okay. I figured as much. Makes sense. After
it's
that
really
heartwarming moment, I'm like, shit's gonna go bad. Of course it does.
Bonfire of Dreams is super great.
Yeah, it's great. And it's like, no, we had our highs, now let's go to our lows.
Plunge.
It's all downhill from here, boys.
Yeah. Battle for Doldry is really cool. It's really well done.
But so you have how far in the second series of Rumble have you gotten?
I believe I'm on chapter 2, because I remember chapter 1 like opening up, and it was like that old man talking to his I think son or grandson or something, but as opposed to how the first series talked about Rathrak being like a menace, a lot of these people regarded him as like, well, I mean, he is a god, but they regarded him as a god. Like, he did bad things, but they revered him in a positive way.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting, because like you really only get the one side with the Esu.
I think Esu.
Esu and the Ivor.
Yeah. I
believe.
I think so.
Are the two? Yeah. So you really only get the Esu's perspective, and everybody's just like, "Oh, he murdered all of us," but you're like, "No, Rathrak's the good guy."
Yeah.
Kind of.
Kind of. Sorry.
Yeah. So, in Rumble 1. Honestly, I think my favorite issue was when you got to meet the Esu human hybrids, and they were like, they really wanted Rathrak's help, but he's like, they're half Esu, like they're Esu scum, and then Del and everybody else is like, yes, but they're half human, and all they wanted to do was like I wouldn't say they cared for him, but they did kind of revere him a lot, because like they were outcasts even from their own kind, both at humans and Esu. So who's the people that defeats the Esu is Rathrak, and it was like, oh, it's really cool. You know, I like that kind of, it honestly was kind of a callback to Puck's relationship with Guts, is like they're there and like they're an annoyance. It's like Navi, you know.
Okay, yeah.
or any of those side characters. Like, I wish there were more of them, or I wish like that main one had stuck around with Del and shit, what's his name? What's the main character's name?
Oh,
Of Rumble One. They don't say his
they
name.
don't.
Bobby.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah,
Bobby.
yeah. It's like they don't say his name very often, and like it's
They
very
do say a lot,
generic.
but yeah, it's like, yeah. So I wish that he had become like a mainstay character. The little guy, I don't even remember if he had a name, but because I like the little guy who's kind of irritating. Like, I don't necessarily like comic relief characters, but I enjoy that kind of innocent side. And Puck is definitely that. You know, that's the whole point of R2D2 and all, you know, all of those smaller side characters.
Yeah.
They help kind of give levity to a situation. It's Rumble honestly gave me a lot of callbacks to Berserk, which was really funny. It's just like big brooding dude with big sword.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I will admit that one of the things about Rumble that I really don't like is that the publishing schedule for Rumble is kind of sporadic at times.
It's Image. It happens.
And like it's just like it's awkward sometimes because a lot of times when the new issue of Rumble comes out, like they obviously tell you like, hey, this issue is gonna come out this month, this next issue is gonna come out this month, but sometimes that gap is just so long.
Yeah.
That it like I do find myself occasions like when a new issue of Rumble comes out that I'm like, okay, hold on, I have to read like the past 2 issues, the previous ones, just because of like I just can't simply remember what happened anymore.
Delays and hiatus are a huge thing.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of the things that really disappoint me about it. And I mean, like that, it just happens. But like for Rumble, because it's such an interesting story that like reading it all together does make sense a good portion of the time. But like, man, when you catch up and then you're just waiting, it's just like, oh shit, I don't remember anything anymore. Like, okay, what's happened? Right, got it. Okay, we're back.
That's one of the things. So I used to go to a comic book shop every single week, and buy the new issues of various comics. I tried to get as many of the DC Rebirth titles as I could that I knew were written well. So Green Arrow, Batman Beyond, Batman, Detective Comics, Superman, Green Lanterns, Green Lantern, or Hal Jordan, the Green Lanterns, or whatever. Like everything. And it was like, first of all, that's a lot. That is overwhelming. And when certain ones were bi-monthly and certain ones were monthly, so you would get used to reading the bi-monthly ones because they were much more frequent, and then you would get lost with the monthly ones. So it's just like,
yeah,
this is hard. And so I stopped buying single issues. I was just like, I'm not doing this. I will wait until an arc finishes.
I never understood buying single issue comics.
I don't know why I didn't either. I should have just started.
Just like, why? They're not very big.
Trades are better. They collect mostly entire sagas or runs or arcs or however they collect them.
Like,
and they're a lot cheaper, and you don't have to. Well, I mean, you have to wait for the trade to come out, but at least you're gonna get the whole story.
Yeah, you're gonna get everything. Yeah,
you're not getting piece by piece by piece.
Yeah,
and that's why I stopped reading Immortal Hulk and Spider-Man. It's not because I didn't like them. It's because I was tired of waiting a month and then being like, okay, I have to go back and read the last like 3 pages to remember what happened. Just like, okay, now I have 5 issues ahead of me. That's roughly enough to finish a whole story. So maybe now they'll be done.
Well, the nice thing about Webtoons is that a lot of the series update weekly, which I know is a bit of an annoyance for you, just because that keeps you from reading other stuff.
Yeah.
But have you what? So I gave you a list of Webtoons to read.
I didn't touch any of them.
Touch any of them?
No.
Okay.
I really do not have that much time.
That's
when I
totally
get home.
fine. I get it. Like,
I will now though.
I will. Yeah, because of reasons. I will say that if you're going to read 2 series, like if you're going to read 1 series, if there's a series that I would want you to get into that I think you would really enjoy, I think it's Weak Hero.
Oh, yeah. I actually did start to...
Yeah.
So you and I think Esprit were talking about that a long time ago.
And I think the only thing that might... Yeah, I think the only thing that might kind of put you off, which it puts me off a little bit, but I'm like, I don't care. It's an interesting enough story. I'll deal with it. Is that it is based in... I think it's based in Korea. And so a lot of the names are Korean.
I watched a lot of Korean dramas when I was in high school. This is not a problem for me.
Yeah. Aside from that, it's just like the names of people and like the names of places are sometimes just like sometimes they lose me because I'm like, I don't know how to pronounce this. Like I don't. Yeah. Okay, and then one of the characters' name is Ben Park, and I'm like, okay, sure.
You're
cool,
like, that's
thanks.
a really
yeah,
American name, and then you're like, that's not American at all.
Okay, sure,
that's
cool,
a very
thanks.
Korean name.
All right, bye. But yeah, I definitely think like if you're gonna read a series, read Weak Hero.
Okay, yeah,
definitely. It's great. It's like if you like badass characters, like I think because like the protagonist of Weak Hero is not only a super badass, like he's super badass, he's also again he's just insanely smart. Because the whole premise is so I read this in a comment in one of the issues, but like one of the comments, because like the whole premise is it's based in a high school, and there's a bunch of bullying. It's like imagine high school bullying, but ramp it up like by 30, and that's what like goes on, and it's all centered around this kid who is a high school student, but he's really scrawny, he's very weak, but he's super intelligent. And so the way that he doesn't get bullied is that he uses his brain, essentially. Like, he just thinks his way of, like, what's the easiest and quickest way to take down this person. And
it's Ender's Game.
Yeah, but it's not even just, like, strategic. It's, like, he'll do anything to make sure that they go down. Like, there are no rules in a fight.
Oh, yeah. That's his logic. That's what happens in Ender's Game. That exact thing.
Okay.
So there's this one scene in it, and so he's an incredibly smart person. Like he's literally top of his class. He gets bullied a lot though because he's really small. And in the Ender's Game universe, I don't know if you know anything about it. No. So you're like having a third kid is like a taboo. You have to pay per child, I think. As a family, having a third child is really bad, and he is what is considered a third, so he gets bullied a lot. And there's this one scene where all of these he gets ganged up on by his main bully and all of his cronies, so he whoops the fuck out of them. And he's like these are like elementary middle school level kids, and he gets called up to go to the academy. And that's, I think, the whole point of having kids is so that they can become a part of the academy or something. I can't remember exactly why having a third kid is a bad thing or whatever. Anyway, but they ask him, is like, why did you hurt him in the way that you did? And he's like, so I wasn't ending that fight. I was ending every future fight. Yeah. So he could never fight me again. Yeah.
So a similar thing happens in Weak Hero, which is one of my favorite moments in any sort of series that I read. It has a awesome quote in it, and it's there's a scene that happens with one of the bullies where stuff goes down, and basically, long story short, because I would want you to just kind of see how it all happens, but things happen with a pen.
Oh.
The main protagonist's name is Gray. Gray shows him a magic trick. He doesn't die, but it's definitely things happen.
The Joker magic trick?
Sort of, but not fatally.
Okay.
It's just not fatal. But then so that happens early on in the series, and then jump like a little bit later, like maybe I want to say like 15 issues. So like a good decent chunk of time has passed. And this bully shows up again because he's tasked to go to like this cram school to like just like cause trouble and like roughs up some people and like set an example. And he goes there and he's harassing one of the students there, and all you hear is the click of a pen. It's just click, 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 and he stops dead in his tracks, just frozen in fear. And it goes through this whole monologue about like, how animal instincts, how they work, and fight or flight and stuff like that. And it's like nothing else happened in that moment. And I forget what the bully's name is, but like so and so was frozen in complete fear simply because he heard a pen click. And at that moment, it is fear that is learned. And I'm like, oh, it's so good. It's so fucking great. Like he's literally like cold sweat of like, oh no, because it's like the bully's nickname is Helmet, and so it's like Gray. He's like, hey Helmet, and he's like, that voice sounds familiar, and he turns around and he sees Gray and he goes, oh no, and it's just all you hear is click, click, click,
no,
click, click, and he's like, I need to get past it. He goes, okay, and Gray just walks out the door, and he's just and Helmet's just frozen in dead cold sweat, and I'm like, I love everything about what has just transpired. Nothing happened, and I love it.
That's pretty
fucking
interesting.
Savage.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that one out.
Yeah, it's like, if you're gonna read a series, I highly recommend Weak Hero. It's absolutely phenomenal. If you're gonna pick up 2 series, I would also recommend Weight of Our Sky.
Okay.
It's definitely less action. It's more drama based, which it's a little hard to get into. But I love that. The thing I like about it is that I really like realistic fiction. And so this is the Weight of Our Sky is based in the Malaysian I think it's 1960s, 1970s race riots between the Malaysians and Chinese people.
Okay.
And so it's all based around that time period, and it centers around this young girl who has OCD, and it's her journey and her experiences in this time period. And I love how they convey her mental, like this sort of mental disorder or like kind of affliction that she has, because in this time period everyone thinks that she's crazy. It talks about when she first started developing OCD, because she develops OCD when her father dies. He passes away, I think, from a disease or something like that. And so she develops OCD, and like it talks about how she went to doctors, she went to therapists, she went to shamans, she went to any sort of like evil spirit like exorcism person, and just nothing can cure her. And so everybody thinks that she's crazy, and even she thinks she's crazy. And the way that they personify sort of this disorder is there's a jinn that is always in the back of her mind, or like always on her shoulder, that just constantly tell her like, you have to keep doing this over and over again, or your mother will die, your friend will die, anyone you care about will die, but you have to keep doing this over and over and over again, because if you don't, they will die. And I love how just like terrifying that they personify it, and just how like gripping it is. Like it's scary, and like
that's really interesting.
I think one of my favorite moments in it is that is how she thinks about it too. I love the fact that like there's a moment where she gets separated from her family, and she'll count, is how she does it, is like she'll always go 1 2 3 1 2 3, or 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 1 2 3 4, and she'll just do that, and she always is like tapping on something or like pointing at something to keep track. And one of my favorite points is that she's doing this because she's separated from her mom. Her mom's a nurse, and so she's constantly thinking, like, these riots are happening. She's constantly thinking she's dead or she's going to die or something bad's going to happen. And obviously the djinn is telling her, like, she has to keep counting or else this will happen. And one of my favorite points is she talks about, like, I know that what I'm thinking and I know what the djinn is saying isn't real. I know that it's all in my head. I know that none of this is right. But that's not what I'm afraid of. It's what she's more afraid of than... she knows that it's not real. That's not what she's afraid of. She's afraid of the moment she stops doing it, that's when it all becomes real.
Yeah. Yeah, Emily, I want to know what Emily would think about that because she has OCD too.
Yeah.
And it's such like super severe.
Yeah,
but it would
like,
be interesting to get her opinion
it's
on
that. I thought, like, I read it and I was like, it's such a powerful, like, oh, this is kind of what this is what it's like of like, or this is maybe what this is a case of what it's what it could be.
Yeah, this
and, like,
is a really good example.
Fact that and I love the fact that it's not. She doesn't think that she's crazy. She knows she's not crazy. I love the fact that the reason she does it is because she doesn't want it. Because she knows, like, it's the same fear of, like, you're not actually afraid of being alone in the woods. You're afraid of not being alone in the woods.
Yeah.
Like, that's the true fear, and I love that sort of true fear of, like, this is the actual cause of it all. And it's much more drama based, which can be a little off-putting, but, like, I think the way the beats for each for how the story plays out are it works really, really well, and it's very, I think, captivating despite sort of the lack of action, because there's like the characters in it are so well grounded and well fleshed out of, like, oh, okay, like, this is really, really interesting. So those are two series that I'm like they are released and I'm there. The moment I get a notification, I'm like, done, I'm reading this now. And I will say that Week Hero updates, I think, twice a week though, so that's kind of awkward, but at the same time, it's like, it's so good. It's so fucking good.
So I've been had been reading One Piece. I was gonna go to the comic store today because I've been trying to get through a bunch of stuff. I've been trying to get through Rumble, Berserk, One Piece, and other things. I wasn't able to get through anything this week because work has been so weird lately. But now I think I'll have a lot more time.
Yeah.
And also a lot less money.
It's actually really funny because you're reading One Piece.
Yes.
One of my friends, he loves One Piece, and he's been watching the anime for, I think, 5 years now.
I've heard that it's rough.
It's okay. The filler arcs are what kind of brings it down, which is, makes sense. And one of my other friends, he is just starting to watch the anime, and he's starting from 1.
Yep.
Like, the person that's just starting, he's starting from 1. The person that's been watching for a while, he just picked a random episode, and he's like, I don't care what's happening, I'm gonna figure it out, but I'm starting from here. And he went. I think he started right before. I think he started a little bit before the Impel Down arc, if you know what that is. Okay. Don't worry about it. But it's pretty late in the series, I would assume.
Let's see.
That it's like, it's hard to explain because I don't want to, like, give stuff away because I know about it because I used to watch the anime.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this: there is a very heavy turning point. There's a very heavy turning point that happens, and I would say that is the end of the first season, I guess. Yeah, let's say that.
Okay.
It's the end of the first season, sure.
Which arc did you say?
Impel Down. It's pretty far in, but, like, because, like, after that, everyone goes through, like, a traditional, like, anime character metamorphosis. So, like,
okay, because I'm looking at all
stuff
the
stuff happens.
Annie's arc. Impel Down. Yeah, okay, that's That's who.
It's in there.
Starts on
It's
525.
It's way in there. Yeah, it's real in there. But so that's when one of my friends started watching, and so
Okay.
and so he started there, and then he just kind of kept going. But so it's interesting, like you're starting to read it. Two of my friends are watching it, and I'm like, I might have to read this manga again. I might, because I used to watch the anime, and I'm like, I might just have to read it, honestly. Like, I'm so tempted again, because I loved One Piece when I watched it.
It's really good.
But I'm just like, fuck, man.
So I watched this video. I think his name is Super Eye Patch Wolf on YouTube, and he does a lot of really good videos, like explanations of they're generally called why you should watch / read X manga anime. Yu Yu Hakusho, Berserk, One Piece, Naruto, Dragon Ball, all these things. And he talked about One Piece, and because I wasn't understanding why I liked it so much. Because I don't like pirates, really. Like, I love the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, but I don't like pirate video games. I'm not like in Pirates versus Ninjas, I always choose ninjas, that kind of thing. But one of the last things he said, he's just like, it is so engaging to read every page. You are so happy to turn the next page because it's so weird. Every single page brings me joy to read. It really does. And it's not like I like comedy, and it's not just comedy. It's good action. It's good comedy. It's good storytelling. It's good character building, world building. It's everything. And like, I used to think that it was really dumb because I read Dragon Ball, Naruto, Hikaru no Go, and Shaman King. When Shonen Jump was like kind of starting to release in the US.
Yeah.
I started in around 2005. And my first chapter was probably chapter 50 something. And I was like, this is weird. Like, I don't like the art style. It's not manga enough. It's not the same style as Dragon Ball with all the like really sharp edges.
Yeah.
And it's goofy. And Dragon Ball is also really goofy, for one thing. And Dragon Ball has some issues. It's really good. But One Piece, I think One Piece is better.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I've been reading Dragon Ball Super, and it's not...
Oh, don't read Dragon Ball Super.
It's okay.
We've already had this conversation.
Yeah, it's like, it's okay. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but I'm like, it's okay. Really, what really got me into it was that I was hanging out with some friends, and we were playing Magic the Gathering, and we just wanted to throw something on to watch. And we decided to throw on Dragon Ball Super because one of my friends is watching the anime for it right now, and so it's like, all right, sure, we'll throw it on. And I will admit that if I had to choose between watching the anime and reading the manga, I definitely would watch the anime because it's a lot more interesting than the manga is.
There's one filler episode that I really like. I'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah, but because like there's a scene that my friend really wanted us to watch, and it's during the Tournament of Power, the most recent one. It's I guess it's Goku going up against the Saiyans. It's a fusion of two of the Saiyans from another universe. Kale? I don't remember her name completely.
Caulifla and Kefla.
I think so. Yeah.
It's Kale.
Yeah, Kale. Yeah. But there's a scene where like Goku like goes Ultra Instinct, and he's charging his Kamehameha, and he's as he's charging the attack, he's blitzing it toward Kale because he obviously he can't miss. He's not allowed to miss or he's done. And Kale is just like firing attack after attack after attack. And there's this one point where Goku's running up a pillar toward Kale, and like Kale like launches her own Kamehameha, and he like does this sick ass like like flip, and he just like basically like Tokyo drifts his own Kamehameha on top of hers, and just like point blank fires it off. And I'm like, that's fucking dope as shit. Like that looked awesome. And so like watching that, I'm like, all right, well I'm gonna read the manga. I want to see how this goes down. And I'm gonna see this again. They don't do that in the manga at all. It's like it's completely different. Like the fight scenes in the anime and the manga are starkly different. Like there are some similarities, but like like the way things happen is just so not there in the manga. It's kind of like a lot of it is really anticlimactic in the manga. Which is like really, really disappointing.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I've been reading it a little bit, and I'm like, it sort of has my attention, but at the same time, I'm just like, I might actually stop, just because I'm just like, it's kind of boring. So I might pick up One Piece again.
It's
I
good.
know.
I would recommend it.
Yeah, I think the one thing about One Piece that turned me off was the comedy of it did tire me out. Like, I don't mind comedy, I don't mind it, but like for some reason, One Piece, I feel like a lot of the comedic beats just sort of happen too soon after one another, or
Sure.
a lot of times it's just like something I feel like some of the characters for One Piece that are really awesome. Like I really love the characters of One Piece, but there are times when the characters are just being funny just for the sake of being funny. And that just makes me so sad, because I'm just like, this is such a cool character, but they're just being stupid, and I'm like, it just detracts from like who they are. Like Brook is, you don't know who this is, but there's a character named Brook, and he's super awesome. He's super cool. And I'm like, oh, he's such a cool character, but a lot of times he's just there to be funny, and I'm like, really? Like, come on. Like, this could have been so much better, but, like, I feel like One Piece does that to a lot of its characters of, like, they're just there. Like, they're super awesome. They're super badass. You could totally do a lot of stuff with them, but they're just comic relief. And I'm like, why? Like, come on. And I think that's a big thing that, like, really deters me from One Piece a lot of the time, is that it's just a lot of the comedic moments I feel like are just there simply because. And that's how I feel about Marvel movies as well a lot of the time, or at least a few of the Marvel movies, where it's like sometimes they just put gags in to put gags in. I'm like, you don't have to do that. Like,
that's what killed Star Wars.
Yeah. If anything, that just bothers me even more, because it disconnects me from what's actually going on, and I hate it.
Endgame really didn't do a whole lot of that.
Yeah, Endgame was pretty decent. I'm trying to think of the last Marvel movie, like Marvel superhero movie that did it, that I was just kind of like,
that really
cool.
took you out.
Yeah.
Iron Man's were really well done.
Iron Man's were really well done.
In the first movie.
Yeah, original Captain America was okay. I know that. See, I gotta.
Oh God.
Let me look up. I gotta look up Marvel movies now.
One of the best ones where it was definitely comedy, but it was comedy used to progress the story, kind of, or to like give insight into Tony's character, which was hilarious. So it was in Iron Man 3, and it's when he is meeting that kid whose barn he stumbles into or whatever with the Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
And the kid's like, Tony asks the kid where his parents are. He's like, well, mom's at work and she's probably not going to be back for a really long time. And dad, he went to the store to grab cigarettes and scratch-its. He must have won because that was 6 years ago. And Tony's like, well, that's cool. Dads leave sometimes. No need to be a pussy about it. Anyway, that is literally what he says. I was just like, and this is Tony Stark, 35 to 40-year-old man saying this to a 10-year-old. I was just like, damn, okay. It happens. Dads leave. No need to be a pussy. Oh, God. So good.
That's actually really funny.
Oh, that made me so happy.
That's really, really funny.
It was one of the best lines.
Oh, I think, definitely. Okay, so this is Thor Ragnarok a little bit did it. Which a lot of people really like Thor Ragnarok. I liked it. I thought it was okay, but I also thought it was okay.
I think
there were points in Thor Ragnarok that were like they're just sort of there, and I'm like, all right, cool, ha. But like, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 also did it a lot, and I get that Guardians of the Galaxy is supposed to be more lighthearted and humorous, but like I think Guardians of the Galaxy, there were definitely too many moments where I'm just like, all right, cool.
Rein it in. Yeah, I think that was kind of my problem with it. It wasn't my favorite.
So you weren't going to stream today?
I'm not streaming.
Oh, you're in the podcasting.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a really hard time with that one. Like, I also had a hard time accepting the changes that were made to Peter or Star-Lord's backstory, which is funny because I never read Guardians of the Galaxy, but I started to research him after the first movie because I loved it so much. And then you look into his backstory and it's like, wow, this is really awesome. His dad is a super asshole from from this planet that he rules over, and he's like supposed to marry Kitty Pryde and all of this other stuff.
Yeah.
And no, he doesn't have god powers, and his dad is definitely not Ego, the goddamn living planet.
Yeah.
And so that kind of bothered me, and that was what I was going into the movie with. I was just like, I already kind of ruined it for myself. But the whole Yondu arc kind of made that movie amazing.
Yeah.
That alone was really good.
Yeah.
I didn't like Mantis in that one, but I really liked her in Infinity War. I thought she was really good.
I feel like that's just because you see more of her, like how her powers operate, which is cool. Like you see it in a very like practical sense.
Yeah.
Like she's not just sort of there to be like some support character. Like she actually has like you have to do this or else we're all fucked.
There was one there was another video, a YouTube video that I watched, and they were talking about one specific scene in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And it's another one of those very few scenes that I really like, because I thought there was a way overabundance of CG in that movie. Not that there wasn't, like, the entire movie was CG in the first one, but I didn't think that it was overdone. Mm-hmm. Like, everything seemed more realistic, and in the new one, everything is like way oversaturated and all of the pretty colors. I was like, no, I don't like this. Take this away. But there is one scene where Drax is sitting down and watching a sunset on Ego's planet, and Mantis comes out and she puts his hand on her hand on his shoulder, and he's sitting there and he kind of has this weird smile on his face, and she starts like freaking out because she's like, this is nothing but pain and sadness and anger, and go away.
I may have bought off-brand Thin Mints just because I want it.
Okay. Well, then I get some. Anyway.
Excuse me.
And it's this really kind of telling moment with Drax, because he's sitting there and he's like half smiling watching a sunset, but you know deep down inside he is just emotionally destroyed.
Yeah.
And it's really sad.
Smell very minty.
Yeah, they do. Wow. Good job.
It's fine.
Wow. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot in that movie that I really liked, but those were two really good parts.
Yeah, but that going back to One Piece, that is one of the main things that like shut me off from One Piece, was a lot of times where like they just sort of did a lot, and also because I stopped. Okay. I want to tell you like when I stopped reading, but like I know that you don't know what I'm talking about. But there's how far into One Piece are you? Out of curiosity.
Like chapter 30.
Okay, so okay, decently in.
I'm in volume 4.
Okay, I hate some of the villains in One Piece. I think also it happens to them as well. Of like they're not actually villains; they're just there for a gag. Mm-hmm. And I really hate it. Because I'm like, either just cut the villain out or give me an actual villain, because I fucking hate this.
I hated Alvida. She was really dumb.
Which one's her again?
She was the one that introduced you to, I can't remember his name. the little kid that wanted to join the Navy.
The one with the
She
pink
was
hair?
like, I didn't really watch the anime, so I don't know.
Oh, glasses.
Glasses. Yep.
Glasses, bowl cut, haircut.
Yep.
Yeah, got it.
Don't remember his name.
I don't remember
And
his
he,
name either.
like,
Yeah, I also don't remember his name.
Yeah. So
But yeah.
Alvita was his captain, and she's like, "Who's the most beautiful, righteous person on the sea?" And it's just like this big old fat lady.
Yeah.
It's like, obviously that's the joke, but they didn't stop.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I don't think actually.
Yeah.
I thought
It's-
Buggy was really good.
Right?
I thought the introduction
Right?
of Buggy was really cool.
Buggy
and the way
is
that he did it.
awesome! And I think they did him so dirty, because he's there, because, like, I get he's a clown, I get it, but, like, they really lay into that. And I'm like, why? Buggy's actually so fucking cool.
The current villain I'm on is Captain Kuro, and they're really only just establishing that he is the villain at the. Well, I mean, it is established that he is the villain, but like I haven't really seen him do anything because his crew
okay.
is just getting onto shore. That's what's
Okay,
happening
got it.
right now.
Okay, I know who he is.
But I love Django. Django is so cool. He is Captain Kuro's first mate. He is Michael Jackson.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hypnotist.
Yeah.
And so it took. I was like, that hat and the glasses and the. Oh, he's moonwalking. Oh, it's fucking Michael Jackson.
It's not even just that. Like, I think in the anime, I don't know if they convey this in the manga, but I know in the anime, that's literally how he walks. Like,
Yeah.
he
came
walks
out of
through
the cabin
town,
and everything.
just
He was just like,
moonwalking everywhere.
It was so funny.
It's so funny because, like, I think the way they introduce him in the anime is like at the very end of an episode, and it's just like these two guys. Have you met Usopp yet?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Have you met
Usopp
Usopp's
is how you met
Oh yeah.
his-
Have you
his
met
three little
Usopp's two
friends?
like his two first mates or his crew?
He has 3 in the manga. The little kids.
Yeah, the little kids.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't actually remember. how many there are. I just know there's at least
Carrot,
one.
garlic, and
Yeah.
Onion.
Onion. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I want to think it's a vegetable. Yeah.
or
But so
is it garlic? I don't know.
I don't remember.
It's definitely onion and carrot, and then the other one I don't remember.
But basically in the anime, it's like those 3 kids are playing, and they're like sitting on a fence near a farm, and Giant Django just moonwalks past them, just down like they like who's that guy walking down the street, and it's just Django moonwalking, and he just passes them, and they're like, okay, we probably don't have to worry about him. It's fine.
Django is really
just
cool.
like what the fuck just happened?
He was, I love that
Django's
the first introduction of him like using his powers, he put himself to sleep.
Yeah.
And and I didn't understand like what happened. I was like, that seems really dumb. If every time he hypnotizes somebody else, but I realized it was because he was also looking at his medallion thingy.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's what got him. It wasn't that he is an idiot, sort of, but it wasn't like his power is like a double-edged sword. It was just like, no, he was just being stupid.
He's just, that happens a lot in One Piece as well, of like, people are just stupid sometimes, and they just fuck themselves because they're idiots.
I really like Usopp's character.
Yeah, which makes it really upsetting occasionally. I don't want to say anything because I'm like, I like Usopp, I really do. If you like Usopp, you'll like him later on as well.
Yeah,
I'll say that. If you like Usopp, you'll like him. You'll definitely Usopp is a character that if you don't like him, you will eventually like him because he definitely gets better. But if you like him now, then you're definitely gonna love him later on as well.
I thought I was gonna hate him. I really did because again, my introduction was further into the story. So
Yeah.
I think Sanji, Nami, Usopp, Zolo, and obviously Luffy were all in a crew together. I think by the first issue that I ever read, they were all there.
Okay.
And I was
so
like,
you're only
Usopp
missing.
is weird.
You're only missing.
The reindeer thing.
Yeah, as far as like I guess the base base crew would go.
Yeah, but so where I'm at, I haven't been introduced to Sanji. I know he's coming next.
Sanji is definitely one of my favorite characters.
I remember I only liked Zolo and Sanji when I read those first couple chapters. Zolo is definitely my favorite character overall. That's why I made my
Zolo's
character in Neo the way that I did. Like, he's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Usopp is really interesting. I don't like Nami very much.
I will say that eventually Nami's like early on Nami's useless. Like,
yeah. I mean, that was the whole point of one whole chapter.
Super useless. But I like it. I actually appreciate it more now that's actually how they did it, how they portrayed her, because of later on Nami actually becomes super fucking awesome. She's actually like super badass, and I'm like, oh, this is great actually. Granted, I watched a lot of the early One Piece. I watched via the anime. That's how I kind of took in One Piece, and then it wasn't until much later that I actually started reading the manga. But yeah, later on, Nami, there's a whole fight sequence that Nami has to go through, and I'm like, oh, they actually made Nami competent, and they actually they actually fleshed out her character more. Oh, okay, this is dope. I love this.
Can you stop him doing that?
But I will say that Sanji is definitely one of my favorite characters. When I first met Sanji, I was like, I love him. Super awesome guy, super awesome character. Later on, I am a little tired of him just because of he does get afflicted with the whole like comedy stick, and I'm like, oh, that sucks. But all right, whatever.
Every ship's got to have a chef.
Yeah, but like it just feels bad. And then God, I want to tell you things and I can't.
I'm going to
far
trust me,
in.
I'm the same way with Berserk. So believe me, I know what it's like. We'll both get further.
We'll get there. We'll get there eventually.
Yep.
But yeah, Usopp is definitely a character. Usopp is definitely a dark horse character of like, I didn't like him at first, and then later on I read more and more, and I'm like, okay, Usopp is actually a really, really awesome character. Like, this is super, super cool. But yeah, so I mean I think we're pretty much just about out of time. We're almost hitting 2 hours, so I think that's a decent place to cut it there. So everyone, want to thank you so much for walking
on by.
Yep, moon walking on by. Thanks for moon walking on by and checking out this podcast, guys. Really appreciate it. As always, you can check out Hex and myself on our Twitch. I can't talk anymore.
You're having some issues there, bud.
I'm glitching out, dude.
Shogun _Shin and Hex. Now I can't talk. God damn it.
It's a plague.
Hex Ginkgo.
We should have got more toilet paper. Damn it.
God. I went to a game store and then I got all phlegmy.
Yeah.
God damn it.
But yeah, you can check us out on our Twitch channels, twitch.tv/Shogun_Skit.
Or it could have been the
Fuck,
giant
damn
milk
it!
drink that you drank earlier.
No, it was before that.
That's it. I'm done. No, I'm done. I'm out.
In the store, I was like,
you know where to find us. I'm fucking done. Oh, God damn it.
Have a good night, everybody. Or morning. I don't know when the hell you're watching this.